Today, man is the dominant predator on the planet, yet we have occupied this position for a relatively short period of time. The earliest known man, Homo habilis, appeared around 2.3 million years ago. Although we dominate the animals of today, many of these animals have extinct relatives that were a lot larger and more vicious than we're familiar with. These ancestors look like creatures straight out of our worst nightmares. Fact Feed presents terrifying ancient creatures you've never heard of. AZHDARCHID. AZHDARCHID was a species of pterosaur, a flying reptile that many people consider to be winged dinosaurs. This is inaccurate, however, with the extinct creatures actually belonging to a different family of organisms, much like the gigantic marine reptiles that were around at the same time. Their name comes from the Persian word for dragon, and it is little wonder why when you consider that these monstrous creatures stood at around the same height as a giraffe, with a wingspan of more than 50 feet. They also feature a very large head and toothless beak that is almost the same size as its torso, allowing it to eat fairly large animals compared to other similar species. Due to its large size, there has been some debate over whether AZHDARCHID would be able to fly and consequently how they would feed. Most researchers now conclude that it would be able to soar over long distances and it would hunt small animals on the ground. ENTELODON. Often known as the killer pig, the Entelodon is an extinct form of pig-like omnivore that lived around 37 million years ago. These huge creatures could be found across North America, parts of Europe, and even Asia. Like their modern-day relatives, Entelodons had a diet that consisted of both meat and vegetation, meaning that they had incredibly sharp teeth. However, they also differed significantly thanks to the large size of their cloven hooves. Perhaps the most significant feature of these Terminator pigs was the huge horn-like structures on their heads, much like a warthog. Fossil evidence points to the fact that the animals would often fight each other, leaving staggering wounds that could be up to an inch deep in the skulls. This immense power shouldn't be too surprising, considering they stood at around 4 feet tall and 10 feet long, weighing in at a whopping 1,000 pounds. LIOPLEURODON. Unlike the vast majority of marine reptiles that are alive today, that range from turtles to alligators, LIOPLEURODON was a truly massive creature. It lived in the oceans for around 5 million years before dying out some 155 million years ago. While accurate estimates of its size are difficult to calculate due to the small amount of fossil evidence available, most experts believe they were likely to be around 30 feet long. This would mean that they would weigh an astounding 3,500 pounds and would be able to hunt for almost any other creature living in the waters in which it roamed. As an apex predator, the LIOPLEURODON would track down prey using its strong sense of smell and then attack them with a strong jaw filled with hundreds of razor-sharp teeth. Unlike crocodiles or alligators, it was unable to leave the water thanks to its flippers, which it could use only to swim. GIIGANTOPITHECUS. The Gigantopithecus has jumped into the public consciousness in recent times, despite being relatively unknown for hundreds of years, thanks to the fact that it appeared in Disney's live-action version of The Jungle Book. They were essentially giant orangutans that lived around 100,000 years ago in the forests of India and China. In fact, their size was so immense, with fossils indicating that they could have been as tall as 10 feet and weighed upwards of 1,100 pounds, that they were the biggest ape to have ever existed. While their enormous figure obviously provided many advantages and made them almost immune to predators, it also led directly to their downfall. Experts believe that the large size of the Gigantopithecus meant that it was particularly susceptible to environmental pressures that it encountered when the climate changed significantly. XENOSMILUS. Although many people have ideas about saber-toothed tigers being simply very large cats, the XENOSMILUS was different in that it wasn't just large, but built very heavily with very, very large muscles. This gave it an appearance of a cross between a leopard and a bear. This unique look and build meant that it hunted in a different way to the vast majority of saber-toothed cats. Using its distinctive cookie-cutter jaw, it would simply use its strength to tear huge chunks of muscle and flesh from its prey so that it would slowly die from blood loss as it tried to escape. Little bit gruesome, huh? Estimates from fossils that have been found in Florida suggest that this cat would have been as large as 6 feet long and had a total weight of 900 pounds. This would make it one of the largest big cats to have ever lived and a truly terrifying predator. ARTHROPLEURA. There are few living creatures that scare people more than bugs and insects. They are such terrifying things that many horror movies prey on this fear by creating huge monsters that are simply giant versions of common creepy crawlies. The ARTHROPLEURA could then be described as a horror movie made real, as it was a huge millipede that could grow up to the size of 8 feet long. Living some 299 million years ago, they were so big that they would have had no natural predators. They are considered the largest known land invertebrates that the planet has seen. These huge millipedes would have lived in North America and Europe, near warm swamps that allowed it to grow to such a size, which many researchers believe is the limit to how big such invertebrates could grow to on the surface. TITANOBOA. The largest snakes alive today are capable of growing to around 25 feet in length in certain circumstances, but the TITANOBOA would put them all to shame. This is because it weighed more than a ton and measured an incredible 50 feet in length. Never in your wildest dreams do you expect to find a 14-meter boa constrictor. The biggest snake alive today is half that size, said Dr. Carlos Jaramillo, a scientist at the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute. Alive just after the dinosaurs died out, the snake lived mainly in the swampy jungles of South America. Like modern-day boa constrictors, it was not a venomous snake and would instead crush prey to death with a force of 400 pounds per square inch. Following the death of the dinosaurs, experts believe that the TITANOBOA was the largest predator on the planet for around 10 million years. SARCOSUCHUS. Although it isn't technically a crocodile, Sarcosuchus closely resembled the modern-day reptiles, with its long body and scaly appearance. Unlike saltwater crocodiles, though, this example was able to grow to about double the size. In fact, some scientists believe that it was capable of reaching even greater sizes as it would continue to grow throughout its lifespan, enabling it to surpass 40 feet in length. This huge size meant that they would weigh around 8 tons and have thick skin that would act as armor, something that was necessary considering it lived at the same time as dinosaurs. It was capable of eating creatures of almost any size, but its main diet would have been made up of fish that swarm the area that is now the Sahara Desert. CARBONEMYS. Discovered in 2005 by a team of researchers in a Colombian coal mine, the CARBONEMYS is an extinct genus of a giant turtle that lived 60 million years ago, with a shell that was almost 6 feet long. Its entire body was around 10 feet in length. The huge creature would have weighed 1 ton, making it a similar size to a small car. While CARBONEMYS isn't the largest giant turtle to have ever been discovered, it is probably the most gruesome. It had a unique jaw that was incredibly powerful, allowing it to hunt animals far bigger than any of its relatives. In fact, the jaws were so strong, researchers believe it would have been capable of fighting and killing similarly sized mammals or even crocodiles. DUNKLEOSTEUS. While there are certainly some very ugly and scary fish alive today, such as piranhas, they pale in comparison to the DUNKLEOSTEUS. This giant fish lived around 360 million years ago, and is one of the largest fish to ever live, capable of growing up to 20 feet long and 1 ton in weight. Its great size meant that it was an apex predator that was protected from danger thanks to armor plating around its head. A pair of large teeth and an immensely strong jaw meant that the DUNKLEOSTEUS was able to eat almost anything it came across in the water, including sharks, armored fish, and even its own species. Using its incredible bite strength, it could easily tear through the flesh of any other creature alive at the time.